everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Mrs. Diva. Welcome to the Facebook page of Mrs. Diva and YouTube channel of Mrs. Diva, and of course our Mrs. Diva community. This is a business coaching session for bloggers and writers. My name is Astha Jain, and I am a business coach and consultant for women entrepreneurs. I have with me very beautiful and amazing Shashwati. Let me, Shashwati, I think you should introduce yourself and let people know the amazing work that you have been doing. And personally, I love your writing. I've read a few pieces that you have written, and I would want that you share with us all what do you do.
Okay, hello everyone, the fans of Astha Jain, the fans of Mrs. Diva pages, and all those who have taken out time to be here on the live session. My name is Shashwati Bodhakur Dikshit. I'm an independent content creator, content writer, editor, published author, and a blogger. So I am sort of a jack of all trades. I'm trying to be master of one, but let's see how it pans out. And I'm very, very glad to be here in front of Astha, who I admire very much. And we are hoping for a fruitful session today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shashwati, for coming live with us. And we have a lot of viewers with us. Hi, Priyanka. Hi, Gavelina. Hi, Pooja. Thank you, Vinisha. And we also have my Papa with us. Hi, Papa. Hi, Mama. And Aruna ji is also here. Hey, Aruna, Resham. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. The support that you guys give us means everything to me. Thank you so much. So before we start, let me just request one thing from all of you, that because I will not be able to moderate today's session, I'm requesting all of you to share it in one group, either in one group or from your profile, this live session, so that it reaches maximum bloggers, maximum writers. We have some amazing writers in the country, and I feel that women are especially the most amazing writers and storytellers. So that is my personal feeling, and absolutely no offense to the male fraternity, but requesting all of you to please share this session either from your profiles once or in any of the groups. And requesting any member could, if you could, guys, share it in Mrs. Diva Facebook group also. Okay, so let's just quickly start with the questions, Shashwati. Shall we? Great,
Yes.
great. Let's start with the first question.
Okay, firstly, before we start, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I have been a silent member of this group for very long, and I have admired Astha for all her live sessions. Live sessions, apart from the fact that they are packed with learnings, knowledge, tips, tricks, advice, but what really struck me was the generosity with which she doles out advice. It is as if she does not want to keep any secret with her. She wants to just give it all. So when this contest came up, I knew I had to work that little bit harder. So, and everything that I wrote for her truly comes from my heart. And I couldn't be more grateful to her for taking this live session. So let's get started with our first question. So,
absolutely.
My first question to you, Astha, is who should be a content writer? I mean, we all love reading, we all love scribbling, writing in one form or the other, but who should take it up as a profession?
Okay, so I would say, Shashwati, anyone who has a flair of writing. So a lot of people love reading, definitely. A lot of people love talking also, and sharing in the form of a story, talking it out. But then we all know somewhere whether we can write it or not. And for that matter, I suggest everyone that do not decide, before trying that you can become a writer or not. Give it a try. always give it a try. Write whatever you want to. Write a story, write an article, write a poem, write anything that you want to, but give it a try first. And then decide whether you can become a writer or not. Because once you start writing, you will get to know whether you are enjoying it or not. So the major question is whether you are able to also see problems, issues, challenges we face in each and every profession. But then when we are working on something, we should be able to enjoy it. We should get that happiness from within. So that's something which is very important. So I watched the videos from Marie Kondo. So she says that whatever you have in your home, it should spark that happiness. So वो happiness वाला जो spark है, that should come from within when you are writing. And if you feel that spark, then go ahead and give it a try. So try तो आप करोगे definitely, but then go ahead and do it as you want to do it. So एक बार जरूर try करना चाहिए सबको, for everybody who loves reading and who is into this, who have in their mind that whether I can become a writer or not, give it a try. फेल होंगे, अच्छा होगा, देखी जाएगी बाद में, but definitely give it a try.
So let's say someone says, okay, this genre or this line of profession gives me immense joy and I want to move ahead in the field of writing. So how does one find one's niche, or is it not important to have a niche, or should we sort of try out different niches, or should we sort of introspect and come up with a niche?
Yes. So I'll say how to find your niche. The easiest way to do it: write, experiment, explore, and decide. So of course, if you're writing for your own blog, you can always choose the topic interest. Then you definitely want to write about something that you're very passionate about. You want to you want to put out that message. You want to share your knowledge. In that case, you'll definitely know. But if you're working for someone else, I would say try and take a project from various genres, various niches, whatever niche is possible for you. Start taking up projects. Gradually you will get to know about your strengths. Gradually you will get to know what do you like doing, what is interesting for you, and then you pay attention to your work. So it's like you have written an article, you have sent it out, or you have written an article 6 months back. Read it again, do a little bit of self-evaluation that how is the article, how do I feel about it now? And then of course it will not come in a day or two, not even in a month or two, not even in people take years to decide their genre, people take years to decide their niches. But I think the best thing is to do and explore as much as possible, and then finally decide what is it that you are enjoying more, what is it. And of course, because if you are doing it professionally, you should be getting paid projects also for it. So that is also one of the things that a writer could keep in mind, that which niche or which genre is giving that person more and more projects. So that's also something that we definitely keep in mind when we want to get into writing.
Okay, the next question that I have, that for a content writer, we usually sort of recycle what we already know, our style of writing or the way we deal with subjects. This is something which comes from experience. So unlike, say, an IT developer who has a new version coming up every 6 to 8 months, for a content writer, how does one upskill oneself? Is there a course that we get to better our flair for the language, or how do we upskill or upgrade ourselves?
Wonderful question, Shashwati. And I think that I personally feel that writers are people who are always learning. We have to always keep learning. We have to stay updated. We have to know about a lot of things. We must know about a lot of topics we are working on. And any writer, you could take up a lot of content writing courses these days with Skillshare, Coursera, Udemy. All these websites, they are offering plethora of courses in content writing specifically. So you'll have a lot of boot camps, you'll have a lot of master classes, and you'll have a lot of similar things. Apart from that, I feel that and of course this I'm talking for in particularly in terms of bloggers, because when you are developing your own blog, you need basic information about certain skills. So learn a little bit of SEO, learn a little bit of keyword researching, learn a little bit of backlinking. How does backlinking work? And advanced WordPress. So advanced WordPress also comes in handy. So if you guys think that you have certain time on your hands and you can spare out that time to learn something new, I would say that these skills are very, very important. Because if when you're writing to someone else and that person is, working on marketing their own blog, then you might not worry about SEO and keyword research and things like this. But then when you're working for your own self, and even if you're working for someone else, these skills, SEO skills are very, very handy. Keyword research, and one very important aspect I would want to bring in life today is the research. So research for any writer is very important, because nobody can know everything. So, as a writer, you also would be getting a lot of topics to write about, and then we do not know about how, everything about that topic. So basic knowledge of how to conduct a research, that is very, very important for all the writers in all the domains. Even if they're doing SEO writing, even if they're into tech writing, even if they're into medical or academic writing, any field, get a basic hang of how do you research on internet, how do you research through Google. So you will find a lot of articles on research, Google research hacks. So take up those courses, and they need not be very long courses. Take up short courses, even they help a lot. Apart from that, I would say, and this is something very, very basic, I feel that whatever language you're writing in, English, Hindi, any regional language also, I personally feel that we should, know as much as possible about grammar. So take up grammar courses, and this is especially for writers if they are not writing in their, mother tongue. So if they are writing in the second language, then take up grammar courses. Grammar course would be very, very helpful. And probably you could also go for certification courses. So, for example, if you want to dwell into technical writing, I'm not sure if you're doing technical writing as of now or not, but if you want to get into technical writing, you can take up technical writing content, courses. So, depending on the projects that you want to pick up and how you want to grow ahead.
Thank you. Asta, I have another question. I think not most, many of the content writers would resonate with, is that how to overcome that writer's block. Unlike other fields, you have you cannot just force yourself to write. You have to have some ideas coming up. You have to
Absolutely.
have the feel to get down and write. So should a content writer, should a professional content writer write every day? And what does he do in case we are not able to get that feel of the subject, we are not able to get down and write? How to meet deadlines? This is very, very important, because if you are doing it professionally, you uh, cannot afford to miss deadlines, right? So how to get over this
Absolutely.
block?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, see, Shashwati, writer's block it's very, very common. It happens with everybody. I feel every writer would experience a writer block at least once in their life. And once is it's a very, very small number. After when I was writing, I somehow felt that I used to experience writer's block after every few months. So I was working for this ad agency, and they would expect me to turn out articles and write copies. And there were days when I would just be sitting like a dud in the office and thinking, what do I write? What do I do? I don't know. I don't know anything. And then client would be calling up. So it happens with everyone. But then, a lot of times writer's block happens due to burnout. So people burn out themselves. You work so much. Writers are under a lot of pressure if you're working for someone else, and then there are certain fears also. So at times when you read or when you get a feedback from the client and the client is not happy, you would feel that, oh, he did not like my work, and what should I write? So at times there are a lot of reasons why writer's block happens, and then if you if possible, take a complete break from the work, if possible for you. So I'm saying if possible because that will depend on the deadline. If you're working for someone else, you definitely have a lot of. So Kiran is saying that my voice is not coming properly. So can you guys hear me? Is it? Am I audible now, guys? Please let me know. Hi. So let me know if you still cannot hear me properly. I will try to probably reconnect the earphones or something. Okay. So I was saying, so we have someone asking a question on how to apply for freelance for content writing. I think it would be a good way to access my interest levels and skills. So Sheetal, I'm going to answer your question also after I answer Shashwati's question. So Shashwati, we were talking about writer's block, and I feel that if it is possible for you or for any writer to take a complete break from the work, do that and do something that you really enjoy. It could be anything. It could be taking a short trip if you have the luxury of that much time that you can go out and take a short trip. Even if it is a staycation, it would work. Go for a walk, dance, sing, cook, do anything you want to. Just do not try not to think about the work. And at times it happens we are on a very strict deadline and we're writing to a client, and then we know we cannot take a lot of your time for ourselves, and we have to give an article. In that case, I'll say that take a short break, come back, and then just start writing. Use whatever words, use whatever ideas you're getting, just start writing anything about that topic. It might feel silly to you also that what am I writing? It is not making any sense. But I would say that go with the flow. Gradually, your brain will start, coming around, and you will get the ideas about what I want to write. Then what you could do is read something else. Read about anything else. Read a magazine. Read a storybook. Read a thriller novel. Sometimes it has happened with me that I was in the middle of watching Sherlock Holmes, and then suddenly I realized, oh, I know now what I want to write. So basically, read something else, watch something else, write something else, and then let it come to you. It definitely comes back. So it's basically our brain trying to tell us that it's enough. I need a break. So that is usually when a writer's block happens. And then at times probably reading more about the topic helps. So you know that you want to write about it, but then read about it as much as possible. So eventually it's something that we might not know about it, but then we were lacking in research. So when we read more and more about it, we gradually know what we want to write and what we want to come up with. So basically research more, read about it, or watch a documentary about that topic. Watching a documentary really helps also. So these days you have documentaries about each and every topic, whatever topic you want to write down about, just watch a documentary. And apart from that, sometimes just sleeping works. Just sleep, take a nap. Leave your ears. Go for a walk and ride in your garden. So I've written articles sitting in my balcony also. So I've done that because at times the brain it just doesn't want to work, and you cannot make it work. So, and one very important thing, after you tune out this white noise and everything, and you are able to write down and you churn out a very good article, reward yourself. So that reward is very important. Give yourself something, make something, cook something for yourself, whatever you like. Apna favorite dish उससे ज़रूर बनाना चाहिए. So this is how I think these are a few ideas that can help overcome writer's block.
Okay. I would like to, Astha, I would like to touch upon a very important topic that I faced in my initial days. So when I started out, I had this big confusion about how to charge for my work. So what makes how to charge for one's work? Like what makes more sense? Is it paise per word as it's the norm? You charge a certain amount per word. Does that make more sense? Or charging on project basis, like as a lump sum amount? How does it work? I was very, very confused in my initial days. I'm sure many of us still get confused about how to charge our clients.
Yes. So this is, I think probably this is one of the questions that I also get a lot, asked a lot from a lot of writers, that how do we decide the charges? How do we tell the client, or what should be our charges? So I would say, if for people who are just starting out, do a lot of market research. So you get to know the charges on various websites nowadays, freelance websites. Get to know what other people are charging. Do a lot of market research, and then you know I think also depends on what you are writing. So SEO writing get not get you as much per word as you would get for probably tech writing or for academic or for medical writing. So you have to keep this thing in your mind. Then you probably the best way to decide is that think about it. How much time is it going to take you? And just think that if you were in a job, what package would you be getting, and convert it into per hour price. That is how you will be able to decide how much do you want to charge per hour for your project. So that will also give you an idea of per word charge, because then of course you can break it down into per word charge. This is one of the ways, but then one has to remember that we have a lot of competition these days in specifically writing industry, and make sure it's okay to charge more, it's okay to charge double than the market rate, but then we should be absolutely sure that we are worthy of what we are charging. We must understand that there are a lot of writers out there who are doing absolutely amazing work also. So one thing is, we do not want to lose work, and we do not also want to get underpaid. So underpaying and overcharging, both are an issue. So if you feel that you deserve that much charge, per word charge, if you're charging 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 3 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee per word you're charging, it's completely fine. But make sure that you give out that quality work. Do not compromise on the quality. So this is how you can decide about your per word charges. So this works well for newcomers, because then they get an idea. And now when it comes to charging for per project basis or per word basis, we would say decide on per project basis. So if you're getting a project, decide if it is the project is for longer duration, and it is something that goes on for a good amount of time, they charge a lump sum money. But then of course fix up a minimum number of, a maximum number of articles that you'd be doing in that lump sum amount of money. If it is a smaller project, then of course any day price per word is usually better, because then it is a small project and you would not even either the client is also trying to get a sample written from you, so there is no point coming up with a lump sum figure in that case, because it could go up also.
Okay, do you want to take a question, or should I move ahead?
Do we have questions? Let me just check. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll take the question. So, okay, I had to answer Sheetal's question. I think you also have that question, so probably I can answer along with that only, right?
Correct.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so like many professional and freelance content writers, I have these thoughts that cross my mind. See, I am a one-woman show right now, so I pretty much do everything on my own. So I tend to miss out on a lot of projects just because of the paucity of time. So I can't take up more projects as I would like to, because I simply don't have more time. So does it make sense for me to expand into a team of writers? And when I say that, when I say I want to have a team of writers working for me, I also have this apprehension that would they be able to roll out work that would be similar to my writing style or the way I handle clients, or would it mean more work, like editing wise? Do I have to go through their works so that our work synchronized for the client? So what makes sense? Do I or do I not?
So there would rarely be anything, Shashwati, that I would say no to. And this seems to me like a wonderful idea. Go ahead. hire writers for yourself. That would give you a little bit of buffer of time. You will get some time to pick up more projects and do more quality work that you want to do. But yes, when we get into collaborative writing, and especially when you want to hire someone, you have to really, pay attention to the quality of the work they are churning out.
Yes.
So, coach them, mentor them, give them time. So, you probably could speak to them once a week, or if you have hired five, six writers, then do a con call with them. Talk about your ideas, talk about what you feel about writing, give them feedback, give them constructive feedback, so that they also gradually grow with you. They also gradually understand what you are looking for when it comes to article quality, or the kind of content that you want to churn out. But then I think it is a very, very good idea for you to expand, hire more writers, and then I would say at least try it out. End of the day, if you feel that it is not working out, or it's something that you are unable to handle, you can definitely go back to working solo. But at least you would know that it is
Yes.
something that you try. Who knows, people have a lot of so one of my clients had a lot of writers working for him, and he is doing great these days. He's has now even moved to Europe. So, aspirations, and then probably experiment and then figure out. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Because what I feel is what's the worst that can happen? It's I'm going to fail. That's the worst can happen. That at least I tried, right? So
Absolutely. And why do we have to fear failure? Why fear
correct.
failure? Right? No, but
Absolutely.
I mean, this is something that I really don't understand. Where did this idea of, low things failing come from? Who says failing is bad? It teaches
Yeah.
you so much. I fail and I learn. So it's okay. It's completely fine.
So my next question to you, Asta, is going to hop on your experience as a content writer. I know this is where you come from. This has been one of your backgrounds. So how to best approach a subject? But what did you do? Everybody has their
I
own methods to approach a subject.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And this is something, it's a very important question. It's something that all the writers should definitely take care of. So I would say start with a lot of planning. Start with a lot of planning. If you are, working for yourself, or even if you're working for a client, take, uh, you should consider your project as a consolidated project, and then break it down into components. Break it down into various components, including research. So you would have to know that what you want to research about. Set your deadlines, including for research. So I'm saying something, this idea that I'm going to talk about next might sound a little bit weird to a lot of writers, but then I personally feel that it is very important. When you are setting up deadlines for your project components, so you have broken down your project into various elements and components, keep a time frame for your research work. Do not keep researching till the end of the time. Reason being, you will end up, keep doing changes and changes and changes in your article. And even at the end of the article, you will feel, if you research more, you will feel, oh, I missed out that point. That point should have been included, or that point should not be included. So avoid that confusion, I would say set up a deadline for your research and then stick to that deadline. After that, uh, ideally what I feel that people should do, or writers should do, is create a bird's eye view of their complete writing. So create a structure. Every paragraph should have a main idea, and then basically elaborate that idea. So that is something that helps you a lot in creating draft. And once you have done that, you create a draft, you elaborate stuff, you elaborate on your topic, and end of the day, it comes to then editing. Be very brutal editor. That's what I feel. So, and I think that all of us should do a lot of editing. So edit, chop, chop, chop. That is very, very important. So basically, what you have to do is you have to structure it, and then you have to, end of the day, when you do the editing, be very brutal with it. So it's not rocket science. It is just that planning phase. Planning and researching is very important whenever you want to write an article, and especially if it is something, if it is a topic that you do not know a lot about. So if you know
Yeah.
about the topic, you would anyways be able to pull it off. You will know that I have to write this, and then you in your mind only you will be able to create an idea that I have to do this, I have to do that. So if it is not that, then you'll have to do research, and then probably you can take help of a lot of organizational tools also. So if you're into, for example, if you're doing collaborative writing, like you said that if you want to hire teams, then you get into collaborative writing. So use this thing, Google Docs or Draft. It helps a lot because then you can see what other person is working on.
True.
So in a team, you probably could divide the work also. So someone is doing the research work, someone is working on the outline stuff, someone is doing the first draft or something. So this is going to help a lot. So draft is one of the things that could help you, and probably to yes, and then to organize your links and your bookmarks, you could probably use Evernote app. Everybody, I think, all the writers these days they're using Evernote app, so you can properly organize all your links. So it's just basically that.
Okay, what according to you are some of the tools or sites or ways that a
Mhm.
content writer cannot or should not do without? वो होना ही होना चाहिए उनके पास, because that would make their lives and their work much more organized, methodical,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
easier to move ahead. So, what are your suggestions? क्या होना चाहिए उनके पास?
Okay. So, so back in the day when I was writing, we did not have a lot of grammar tools and apps that could check the idioms and take out the jargons. At times when we are writing, when we are in the flow, we use a lot of jargon. So I probably think that if it is possible, first of all, do not you nobody should need a grammar checker. Let me tell you, राइटर्स को ये चीज ना अपने जिस लैंग्वेज में आप लिख रहे हो ग्रामर चेकर की जरूरत नहीं पड़नी चाहिए because you should know your grammar by heart.
Correct.
Just in case needed, and you are into you have hired someone and someone else is writing for you, then you probably need it. Then these days there are a lot of tools. So Grammarly is what I have heard that works
Yes.
very good. So Grammarly is there, then Hemingway is there. Then I think Pro Writing Aid. I think it's a paid tool. It's a paid tool. So unless you are generating that much revenue, I would suggest do not go for it. If you are generating good amount of revenue, then probably go for a paid version.
Yeah,
Then
Grammarly,
there.
you can use the basic version, then go for the premium one. Yeah, both. Grammarly works wonderfully, actually.
Yeah. So apart from that, if you want to check for, of course, if someone else is doing the writing for you, then you want to check for the plagiarized content. Then you could a lot of these apps also they provide this checker, Dupli checker in their paid version, but otherwise this Dupli checker also is one. Copyscape, I think sometimes I have also used Copyscape for my own articles when I had hired someone to write the articles for me. So I had used Copyscape myself also. So I think apart from that, what else? So I am a bit old school, so I would say always keep a pen and a paper with you
Like
to
me.
even if you're doing. So I also have my whiteboard. If I am doing something, I have to write. I don't know why I have this problem. If I am doing something, I have to write it in a pen and a paper or on my whiteboard, and then do things. But then I know a lot of people these days just use digital tools, so it's
Well,
completely fine.
I think I resonate with your methods a lot because I am very old school. I have to have a pen and a paper, a collection of pens and a nice notepad to write my ideas on, to scribble. I just can't do directly on the laptop. I just can't. I have to write my ideas on a piece of paper. So that also makes me probably old school. Acha, one
Absolutely.
more,
So you see my notes. I have these notes for today's session. I have to
I
write
can
them down.
see that.
I cannot work without writing stuff.
Yes. So I think we all have our own methods and whims and fancies how to approach our thing. But one thing I want to understand from you, just like any other field, even in content writing, we have to deal with clients and different kinds of clients. Some are easy to work with, some are not that easy, some are a little difficult. So, what is it? They would send back the work a number of times. They would not give the corrections at one go. Every time you send them the work, they would come up with new corrections. So, what is an acceptable number of edits that you should do for a client? So, you can't be reworking the same thing over and over again, burning your resources and your time and efforts. So, how to deal with such clients who don't give those corrections ek hi baar mein and just finish it off? Nahi. So, what is an acceptable number of times you feel?
I think that it is more about setting the expectation of the client when we take up the project. So a lot of times, being writers, I have also done that I would not clearly tell the client that I will be working on this project until this time, and then after that I have my own other engagements, also more, other projects that I'll be working on, and I will really appreciate if you could give me the corrections in one go, or when I send you the first draft, please give me as many corrections, and then probably we can work on 2 more drafts. So set up this expectation with the client in the beginning of the project itself, so that you are safe from the repeated work on the same article or on the same project. So in that duration, probably, because at times I have been on both sides of the table. So at times what happens is that the writer has sent you the work, and then you do not get time to go through it completely. You go through it after 2-3 days, and then you realize that, oh, this is missing, or that also could be missing, which of course should ideally not be done, because writer's time is very, very important. That I personally feel that, because writers are working on a lot of projects in one go, and then to toggle between the topics is a very difficult thing.
Absolutely.
And right, because you would, one article could be travel
article. Yeah.
Yes, you just cannot work with it. So I think mostly it works better if you speak to the client in the beginning of the project itself, that this would be the date I would be working on this article. So I would really appreciate if you could send me all the changes. And then probably, of course, you get to know the client also. If someone is genuinely, you feel that their feedback is genuine, you would want to do, you would want to change the draft again and again, 2-3 times is fine. But then someone is making you change each and every paragraph and each and every sentence, then of course it becomes unfair, and then you take the call. At that point in time, sometimes you have to be upfront and tell the client that, see boss, this is something that I have done until now, and it's not possible for me to change the complete article. So either that person should tell you that, I don't write this article at all, and please do write another piece, right? So it's basically about setting the expectation in the beginning.
True. Absolutely. Okay, Asta, I would like to know, as content writers, many of the times we work on references. Say a client liked our work, they would refer us to their acquaintances. So word of mouth marketing, as you call it, and we mostly work on reference. At least that's the way I operate. So, are there any other good sites or any other links how we can get fresh work? I'm not talking about the reference bit or the referral parts. So, where can we look for fresh work?
Okay, so I think this covers up the question of Sheetal also. So Sheetal has asked this question, that where do we work from? And I personally have picked up a lot of work from freelance websites. So when I was working, Guru.com was very famous. Elance, which is now Upwork, that was very famous. And I have personally picked up a lot of work from Elance. And otherwise, you can take up from Fiverr, you can take up from Freelancer, Guru, FlexJobs. I've heard People Per Hour is doing very good these days in terms of projects. And then Blogging Pro. So these are the websites that you could probably take a look at. Some of the websites, so one has to put in put in a lot of work. I feel when you want to pick up work from these websites, you have to take care of your profile. You have to stay updated. You have to keep on, updating the work that you are doing. But then you will get a lot of work from this, because the biggest benefit I feel for us is that when you get work from a client who is not in India, you get better than when you than what you get from an Indian client, because the currency conversion plays a part. So I think it's better if you have time, spend some time on these websites. Don't work on all the websites in one go. Pick up either just 2 or 3, maximum 3 websites. Work on those 3 websites. Work on your profile setting and everything, and updating your work, and that could give you good amount of projects. Apart from that, you should always try to update your portfolio and have a list of your published and unpublished work. Basically, learn a little bit about marketing your services. So it's a lot about marketing yourself, marketing your writing services. Social media is a great place. LinkedIn is a great place. So LinkedIn, you'll find a lot of CEOs, CFOs, startup owners, basically decision makers. And also, I feel that it is once again a weird idea, and people feel that Facebook is one place where you really never get quality work. But I think it is more about the groups that we are moving in. If you move to groups that are dedicated and that are doing quality work, you definitely can get into the startup industry. And I think writing is something, and content is something that everybody needs as of now. Everybody needs content. And especially now, people realize that you really have to be on all the social media websites, and then that gives you more and more scope. So be careful which all groups you're moving in. And then again, there are a lot of groups that are dedicated to startups, founders and co-founders. Depending on the type of projects you want to land, go out in these groups, engage in these groups, and talk to people, and you will be able to get a lot of work. Then Quora and Medium. I personally think that every writer, if you're looking for work, be active on Quora and Medium, both the websites. Write as much as possible. Give out quality content. Give out quality, stuff on these 2 websites. References, of course, never fail. And if you get a reference, you get projects from that. That also, of course, is great. And these days, a lot of women entrepreneurs have understood how important it is to get a good social media content written. So this is one industry that a lot of writers are missing on. Tab it, grab the work, because women entrepreneurs, they usually do not have time. Even if they are writers themselves, even if they are able to write themselves, they probably do not have that time to do their social media posts. So this is something that could be very, very helpful for writers, and especially at this point in time when you know that everyone is trying to develop their social media channels. So this is something which every writer should understand, and go ahead and dwell into this industry. I'm going to talk about one thing. And this is a concept that I will try to make you understand, and make everybody, all the writers, understand. Let me know if you guys are able to understand it or not, and then I'll try to explain it once again. Reverse engineer industry targeting. So, थोड़ा सुनने में difficult सा word लगेगा, but I'll try to explain. Reverse engineer industry targeting. Basically, you write a case study article on how your writing or how your article has helped a client tremendously. So usually bloggers are almost bloggers now into influencer marketing also. They are doing good work, and they are writing amazing articles and bringing in traffic and bringing in clients for their own clients. So write an article and explain how your blog has helped a particular client. Give it a very good kind of heading. So something like how I got 5K new weekly or monthly visitors for my jewelry, for a jewelry designer or for a jewelry website, or how my one blog post generated 22 orders overnight. So something like this. Decide your case study, work on it. This is not something that you would be able to do overnight, because you have to also be very good. So you should have done that work. You should have been that good with your writing that you have actual results showed the client. Post the article on Facebook and run ads with similar demographics. Post this article on Facebook. You write an article how my one blog post generated 22 orders for a home baker, for example, for a home baker overnight. Run this on your Facebook page and then run ads in the similar demographics of home bakers and cooks, home cooks. So your article will be shown to these people. Give a CTA in your article towards the end, writing that, please connect with me if you also want similar results. You will be able to get into that particular industry and generate more quality leads from there. This concept I know might sound a little bit difficult for people to understand, but अगर नहीं समझ आया तो मैं दोबारा समझाती हूँ. बेसिकली एक केस स्टडी को बहुत ल्यूक्रेटिव वे में आपको लिखना है, जो कि आपने किया हुआ है काम. आपका कोई आर्टिकल जिसने एक्चुअली रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस किया हो, उसको अच्छे से लिखना है, केस स्टडी बनाना है और सिमिलर डेमोग्राफिक में उस पर एड चलाना है. सो फॉर एग्जांपल होम बेकिंग के ऊपर आपने लिखा है, या ज्वेलरी डिजाइनर के ऊपर आपने लिखा है, ज्वेलरी सेलर के ऊपर आपने लिखा है, उसको अपने फेसबुक के ऊपर पोस्ट करो और उस पर एड चलाओ. एड शुड बी विजिबल टू पीपल हु आर फ्रॉम द सेम इंडस्ट्री. सो फॉर एग्जांपल के होम बेकर्स, बाकी के होम कुक्स हैं, उनको वो आर्टिकल दिखना चाहिए. आर्टिकल एंड में CTA को कॉल टू एक्शन बटन दो, दैट इफ यू आल्सो वांट सेम रिजल्ट्स प्लीज कनेक्ट विद मी, समथिंग लाइक दैट. एनकरेज पीपल टू connect with you. And this is how you can get into various industries, conduct experiments with various industries and generate a lot of leads. Do you want me to explain it once again? I know thoda sa.
I had one very tricky question for you. Okay. Just like in any other profession, what I personally feel is we should never be in denial. We should always be accepting of what we actually are. So say I'm a newbie content writing. I have taken it up professionally. What is that point or what is that indicator that says that you are no good? You are not fit for this industry. वो कौन सा इंडिकेटर है जब हमको लगता है कि okay, maybe this industry is not for me. I think I'm a very good writer, excellent writer, but maybe this is not meant for me professionally. ये मुझे अब छोड़ देना चाहिए. Maybe I should look for something else. What is that indicator in your view?
The person himself or herself. The only person who can decide whether you should continue working for an industry or not is you. You started for your own self. You did not ask anybody before you started. आपने किसी से पूछा नहीं, किसी और के लिए आपने नहीं काम start किया अपना whatever work you're doing. And this goes for a lot of other professions also. Especially मैं startups के बारे में अगर मैं बात करूँ तो ये जो doubt है ये सबके मन में आता है, बहुत ज़्यादा आता है. How much is enough? So until when should I keep hustling? And the only person who has the right to answer that question is you yourself. The time when you feel that I have given my 100% and now it's time that I should move on, that is the time you move on. Not before that, not even if 100 people are telling you to move on and do something else. You do not move on. You move on when you want to move on. Otherwise, you keep hustling, you keep doing what you're doing, you keep learning, you keep doing with full heart. Give your 100%. So only you can answer.
Astha, I think we've been speaking for over 50 minutes now, and it couldn't have been a more fruitful session than this, especially for me. And I am sure all the viewers who are watching us, I'm sure they would have certain takeaways from this, but my greatest takeaway from this session is do not let anyone tell you it's over unless you yourself feel it's over. Keep hustling. Do not give up, because content writing is, I think a little bit more personal because it comes straight from the
Absolutely.
heart. Yes.
Absolutely.
So I couldn't be more grateful to you, Astha, for sparing your time, making so many notes in your notepad just for me. And I'm sure we would have helped many other beginners.
Really hope so.
We really hope so. And I thank you for having me, Astha.
Most
And
welcome.
it was great talking to you one on one. And maybe we should take up some questions now.
Yes, so let me see. Let me go through the comments. Let's see if I can find some questions. So, guys, if you have any questions, you can write in the comment section, and I will definitely answer them later on. Also, if not now, because there are so many comments, it's like I will not be able to go through all the comments right now. So yes, Sarika, definitely we learn from our experiences and failures. And I personally feel failures are more important than success. If you succeed in something, you succeed, and then you think that it has worked.
Got it.
But failure teaches you a lot more. Okay, so Anjali is asking, can you give some input on authentic and trustworthy sites for freelance or resources? So I think Anjali, you're asking about the work, and I have given you the names of the sites, but then again, and of course you will find a video on YouTube where I have listed down all the sites also. But then just in case you wish to know, Guru.com is there, then freelancer.com is there, then Upwork, Fiverr, jobs, people per hour. These are the websites that you can pick up work from. What I suggest usually is when you take up a website, when you start working with a website, read about the reviews. Read about the website reviews on Google. Just Google the reviews of that website. So you should be sure that the website is fair in dealing with the service provider and for the customer both. So you'll get reviews. Then we have Sunilshri saying, I was waiting for you to say sleeping. I think she's talking about coming over the writer's block. Yes, Sunilshri.
Yes.
Sleeping was great.
It does, at least for me.
I think it works great for everybody because the brain gets that rest,
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Recharging.
Yes. So I'm just trying to find more questions. So Peter, I hope I have answered your question. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and connect with me. No issues at all. Speak to me, message me, and okay. So I think we have a question. Guys, in any case, whenever you watch the session and you have any questions, you can definitely connect with me, speak to me, and of course, I'll try to resolve as many questions as possible from my side. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you so much, Shashwati, for asking such good questions that probably all writers have these questions in their minds. And thank you, Debolina. Thank you so much. And I think with this, both Shashwati and I will, we'll end this live session here and we'll take your leave. Thank you so much, Shashwati, and everybody. Thank you guys. Shashwati, you're saying something.
Yes, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope to take away many more learnings from you, your great super tips, tricks, ideas, suggestions, and maybe I'll bug you forever
Anytime.
now with questions.
Anytime. Most welcome. Okay.
Thank you for having me once again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.